Hello, everybody. Believe I'm live right now. My name is Kristen Brown, and I'm really happy to deliver this content to you guys today. I want to be sure that my sound is okay. No one has entered the room yet, but when someone comes in, I want to make sure because last time when I was recording from my home office, I don't think the sound was going through my microphone. It was going through the actual computer on my desktop, and it didn't sound very good. And I don't like that. I like you guys to have clear, crisp sound. So today I'm going to talk to you guys about simping. And I had a actual subscriber from my channel reach out to me, and he said, this is the small version. I am ashamed to say I simp girls. I actively pay attention or pay girls for attention. I struggle to cope with the loneliness and would love to hear your advice on combating this. And I think your advice could help a lot of lonely guys out there. So I just wanted to say to you guys, hold on, let me just reply to this real quick. That I just wanted to say to you guys that first of all, when somebody reaches out to me with a question like this, where there has been so much self awareness, where this person is really starting to recognize their pattern, all I can say is F yeah. Because the way that we start to change and heal through our lives is by recognizing our patterns. And the first thing that he said was, I'm ashamed. And shame is something that never serves us. It never serves us. But when we first start to come into conscious contact with our patterns, oftentimes that's the first feeling that we're going to feel is ashamed. And that is the reason why we haven't really brought this to the forefront in the past, because it was there, it was kind of driving the train, but yet we felt so much shame about it. To actually say it and bring it to life can be very, very scary for many people. And I don't know about this individual, but oftentimes when we actually say the thing that we need to say out loud, at least to ourselves, even if we just own it to ourselves, there's going to be a level of relief. Even though we might feel a little bit of shame, like there might be a little bit of shame still wrapped up in that, there's going to be a feeling of relief. Because the way I look at it is this, you guys, this is one of my favorite metaphors. I want you to consider that you have a beach ball in a pool or in the body of water, ocean, lake, or whatever, and you're trying to push it down. It's taken a lot of energy and pressure to keep that ball down, right? But the second that you let go of it, it pops up and it shoots up above the water line, right? Which the pressure is then released. That's an internal feeling of ownership will do for us. Even though there might be these feelings of shame that surround it, those are manageable. The most important thing is that you popped out of that thing. Okay, now I have some people in my room, and I really hope that somebody will let me know. Give me a thumbs up or something if my sound is okay. Because I was saying this before anybody was yet in here, that the last live that I gave, I don't think my microphone was connected. And so it was going through the audio of the computer and it was a little garbly. So if it's anybody, I can't tell who's in my room. I just know there's people in here. If you guys could, someone give me a thumbs up and say my sound is okay, or tell me that it's not okay. Not sure that I'll be able to change anything on it right. Oh, what is that? Oh, that's just mute. Not sure I'll be able to change anything on that right now. If it's a little garbly, hopefully it is not, but then I can do some investigation and figure out how I can get this microphone. And I know it works because I've done other live streams with it and it's clear. So anyway, with that being said, I have to start off with just expressing my heart with this. When I received that email this weekend, and I don't ever mention names, I was like so moved and so touched, because I can tell you that this person who's reaching out wants help, wants to know, is seeking, is courageous, is saying, I got this thing. I got this thing that's happening, and I don't know why this thing is happening. Do you have an answer for me? And twofold, believing in me and saying, you know what, I think you could help some people through this. And the truth is, I think that I can. But that level of help only comes from the level of willingness of the person receiving. So I give a lot of talks, I share a lot of wisdom, I share a lot of guidance, I share a lot of love, I share a lot of insight, I share a lot of experiences. And However, that falls to the person receiving this, whoever's listening now or who's going to listen on the replay, is up to you. And that's one of the coolest things about life, is that we do have free will. But let me tell you something, this noggin can jack us up, because we've got this part of our psyche that's our ego, right? And the ego is constantly yammering in our ear, telling us that we suck, telling us that we're bad, telling us that we're wrong, telling us what it is. So when the truth comes in, the ego is so freaking loud that sometimes it can drown out that truth. Or we'll hear that truth for a minute, we'll be like, yeah, that feels good, I understand that. And then all of a sudden, the ego comes in and crashes over it, and it starts to drown it out again. So at this point in this broadcast, I want you guys to know that anything that you hear, it would really serve you if you grabbed a pen, a pad of paper and a pen, or a pencil, whatever you want, and you take notes with anything that resonates with you, with your like that I feel at my heart center, that's making sense to me, it's logical to me. I may not know how to do this yet, I may not be through this yet, but you have now shifted directions into awareness. Okay, because before, we're in the dark. When we're repeating the patterns over and over and over again, we're just in the dark. Okay, we just don't know yet. The awareness is the first part. That's taking responsibility, going, I am aware. I'm aware that this is my pattern. I had to take responsibility for my pattern of repeatedly attracting dysfunctional relationships. That was me, attracting partners who didn't respect, love, and honor me. So once I owned that, there was this level of relief, like I was talking about, like the beach ball that was, we're holding underwater, we let up. There was a level of release. I will say I didn't have shame. That's just not how it worked for me. I didn't feel shame because I was so curious. I didn't have time to feel ashamed about it. I mean, okay, now that I'm saying that, there was dip ins and outs of shame. Like, of course, I was like, ooh, cringe, I did that, or ooh, cringe, whatever it might be. But I didn't stay in that, because shame doesn't serve us, you guys. And I'm going to get to this later, but it is that hidden shame inside of us that is promoting this pattern. That is the most important thing that you can take off. It is the hidden shame inside that is promoting this pattern. On the thumbnail of this, I said that, I think I said the real cause and cure revealed. The real cause right now, and I will get into this deeper in a little bit, is the hidden shame and unworthiness within, period. Hands down, I will fight anybody who says otherwise. Because anytime we are showing up in life, not literally fight, I always have to disclaim, because we're on public media. So someone that's going to come out there and say, Kristen said she's going to fight somebody. No, I'm not literally going to fight somebody. Okay, I'm just saying, I call it boxing. I'm ready to box with anybody that wants to argue about that, because that is my hill to die on. That is my universal truth and understanding of what causes these type of things. And for this particular individual, or anybody else who feels like you're simping, this is how it's presenting for you, because it can present in many, many different ways for many different people. Like, we are all so incredibly different. So the way our hidden shame and unworthiness presents into the world is going to be different. There's not like a infinite amount of ways that it shows up. It's just usually it's in one or two or 10 categories. Okay. So with that being said, I want to go into what the definition is of simping. Now, mind you, this is a new term. This term wasn't really, to be a simp meant you were a simpleton back in the day. It meant usually, terms change all the time as life goes on. And it used to mean like someone who didn't have a high IQ, or they were just very, very simple in life and those type of things. That's not what it is anymore. It's changed terms. And I will tell you that I reached out to my millennials children and my Gen Z, and I said, can you guys give me the clear definition of simp? Because I wanted to make sure I was on the same page with what this means. Because truth be told, you guys, there's a lot of stuff floating out in the world, all the things, the texting, like IKR, I know, right? I'm like, what the hell does that mean? Right? So I got to go Google these things. I've heard of simp. I knew what simp meant, but to be honest with you, I've only heard of it like in the past couple years. And it's not a word that was around me a lot, but as soon as I got the definition, I went, I know exactly what this is. Okay. And I reached out to them and they gave me their little definition of it. But then I also searched it. I Googled it. I Urban Dictionary'd it. And I wanted to find out what people were saying about this. And of course, there's many different terminologies in the way that this is presented in the world from different people. So I want to give you my understanding what a simp it is. So let me tell you this. The outside world said this, and I liked this definition. They said somebody that is overly submissive and hopes to, but gains zero from it. I love that. They're like, they were overly submissive and they're gaining zero from it, which means they're giving, 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 buying, showing up, doing the things. I'll change your tire. I'll help you move. In fact, I'll move all by myself. You don't have to do anything. So this is what it means: is give, 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 give. Okay. And receive very little in return. What does this sound like, you guys? It sounds like my life's work. It's a people pleaser. It's a people pleaser. Yet it's showing up in this way in this particular person's romantic or hopeful romantic relationships. So in essence, what's happening is that this is the hidden shame and unworthiness inside of this individual that feels like they're not enough. But when they get outside love, approval, and attention, maybe affection from somebody else for a second, they feel like they matter. That's all that's happening here. This is not complicated. Okay. Now people want to turn it into all kinds of things. And it was interesting because I Googled, I was like, I want to see, I have never researched this. So I Googled something about that, and the blog that came up said, don't do this, don't do that, don't do this, stop doing that. Here's the thing, you guys, when we have these disempowered patterns, they're there for a reason, because it's our default autopilot. It's our autopilot that is promoting us to do these things. It is the way our brain has concocted to receive love, approval, and attention and affection or whatever else from the outside world. So to tell somebody, stop doing that. Sometimes people can. Sometimes people have the willpower and they can stop it, or maybe they can stop it for a short period of time. They're like, okay, I'm not going to buy this, or I'm not going to pay for that, or I'm not going to offer my services until I get something in return or something. Okay. It depends. Again, we're always on a spectrum, you guys. We're always on a spectrum. Okay. You could be like a stage 5 simp. You could be a, minimal. Okay. Whatever, or same thing with people pleasing, right? We're always on a spectrum. So sometimes you can bring that type of awareness to somebody and they can go, oh, yeah, I should stop doing that. But chances are, if a person has recognized that they're simping, all right, and they're like, I'm doing this, that means they've researched a lot. They've come to understand what this term means. They've probably learned a lot along their journey, and they're like, I'm still freaking doing it. Why? Right? That's where the rubber hits the road. When we have that awareness and we're like, why do I keep doing this? Why can't I stop? Because guess what? Now I'm conscious of it. It's no longer back here. It's now in my frontal lobe. I'm conscious of this and I'm still doing it. Why? Because certain programming we cannot overrule. It's an automatic way we think. All right. So somewhere in the youth of people who are simping, I'm going to say this before I go further on. Okay, remember youth of people simping, Kristen. Simping is really just a term for needy and desperate, but it's characterized and classified in males. All right, women simp. Okay, women simp. We see it all over Dr. Phil. They get catfish, they get this, they get that, right? This is not just about men, but the fact that a man probably came up with this term and has blanketed it on all these other men is part of the problem, because men are not allowed to be emotional. Men are not allowed to have feelings, typically. Okay, everything I say is not 100% absolute all the time, but typically. And men are put down, okay, when they have hidden neediness and desperation inside of them. But I want to put the kibosh on this right now, right here, right now on this stage. Women do this too. And these men that are walking around saying, stop simping, guess what? Their hidden shame and unworthiness is manifesting in a different way in their life, because there's no one who is walking around without this, okay, until we heal it. That is the path here. That's the spiritual path here. So these men that are out there pointing at other men, they got something else going on. They may not be that. They could be the narcissist. They could be the taker. They could be, who knows, whatever they might be, right? And they think they've got this locked and loaded and are all that. Throw their ass in a relationship and let's see how they show up. Let me see their relationship history. Because a quality, good human being with character, unless they're joking and playing around sometimes, are not going to walk around pointing at other men and saying, you're a simp. Mind you, I'm going to say a word here. When I went through YouTube and I'm like, is this even a thing? And I searched it onto YouTube, right? Guess what word came up? It said simp this, simp that, simping, so-and-so, and the word P-U-S-S-I-Y came up. P-U-S-S-Y. Are you a P-U-S-S-Y? This is what I'm talking about. So a man who has some hidden wounds, who is presenting in the world as needy and desperate, is now called names, which is going to contribute to the wounds, that is going to contribute to the feelings, and it's going to contribute to the behavior. Because guess what? That man feels even worse now. The same is true for women, but in this particular case, I'm talking about for men. That P-U-S-S-Y word. That's like the word that men don't ever want to be called. Okay? Because it makes them feel weak and small. I will tell you, to the men out there that are calling other ones simps and are doing all these things, are you emailing somebody on YouTube talking about your problem? Owning your shit? Are you? I bet not. You're standing on your high horse and you're telling people all about who they are and you're saying, you need to do this. So for the person who reached out to me, I bow to you. I literally bow to you. And to anybody else who is on this stream right now or is going to watch it, who has been called that or recognize that in yourself, give yourself a massive high five. Okay. Give yourself a hug. Give yourself a pat on the back because you have just taken responsibility for your behavior. And it's in that taking responsibility for your behavior that we start to heal. Can you guys tell I'm really passionate about this right now? I'm snapping, I'm clapping, I got my arms going like up here, okay? This is because I really mean this. I want people to understand that ownership is key. Anytime, anything. I'm a people pleaser, I'm codependent, I'm needy, I'm desperate, I'm chasing people around, I'm doing whatever it is. All those things, raise your hand, raise it high. Do not raise it around somebody that doesn't or hasn't earned the right to hold that space for you. You go to those people in your life that can go, yes, I see that in you. I understand. You want to work on this together? Yeah, it's okay. It's okay. That's who you're talking to. Our beloved Brene Brown, she brought some of the most incredible words to us through her research. I have to say, I haven't really followed her a lot. We were kind of in congruence. Like I was learning about my shame and worthiness hidden as she was doing her work in the world. It was very interesting. And so a lot of what she did was like, I was like, yeah, this is what, what I've learned as well. So she was researching certain ways. I was researching in other ways. I'm not Brene Brown. That's not what I'm trying to say. I'm saying that I understand what she's saying. And when she said we share our story, which could be our awareness, it could be our pains, it could be our trauma, whatever it might be, but we share a story with a person who has earned the right to hear it, that means somebody that can hold that space for you. And I want to honor this person that reached out to me who knew that I could hold this space for them. That they said, I'm sending this to you with the disclaimer of, I know you're so busy. I know you probably don't have time to respond to this, but here's what I'm saying. And you don't even have to email back to me, but if you could make a video on this, I'm sure you would help a lot of people. And you know what I did with that? I said, I'm going to one up you. Not only am I not going to respond to you, which I did respond to him. I said, but I'm making a YouTube live on this because this is how we grow. Okay, so I want to continue forward. My definition of a simp is someone who doesn't yet know their worth, their true intrinsic value as a beloved divine spark of God, as an amazing, unique individual on this planet. So they're feeling like they've got to be something else to get it. That's it. You're not fatally flawed. There's nothing wrong with you, and you're no different than anybody else walking in this world. Your symptom, that's funny, symptom, like symptom, interesting. That's interesting because I often say the patterns that we have are our symptoms, symptoms, of our hidden shame and unworthiness. That's the patterns that are repeating. They're just symptoms. They're just how it's presenting. So symptom, sympdom, symptom is a symptom of hidden shame and unworthiness. Now, I'm not going to get into how all that comes about in our life, how the hidden shame and unworthiness comes about, because I talk about that in almost all my talks. It's everywhere. You guys can research this. I got tons of playlists, and they are very succinct. So if you click on a playlist, you're going to get what I'm talking about on that playlist. Okay. So what's happening here is that this person doesn't know their worth, and they feel like they need to be something else to get love, approval, and acceptance, and also attention. Attention is kind of like, when you give me your attention, I feel like I matter. So basically, we have fractured so far out, this person, and well, I say we because we're all healing from this stuff, but in this particular case, the simp has fractured so far out of their divine, authentic, gorgeous, brilliant, unique center that they feel like they have to be something else in order to get that. And we hear this oftentimes talked about as wearing masks. Okay. So back in the day, I wore masks and I didn't know I was wearing masks. Okay. Because I was walking around with my hidden shame and unworthiness. And this starts young. Okay. And we start to look at the outside world and we start to weigh ourselves up against other people and all these things. And I remember at some point, people paid attention to me when I was funny. This is like around, I remember this in 6th to 8th grade, like this starting to present for me when I was funny. So guess what? I put on the mask of funny girl, because if that was the way I was going to get attention, then that's what I was going to do. Oh, I got to be funny to get attention. I got it. I also got the message that because I was raised with a bunch of boys, which I love, I will never regret my upbringing, but raised with a bunch of boys, a lot of boys in the neighborhood, they didn't have time for some girl crying. They didn't have time for some girl being scared. Like, I don't know if I want to do that. No, I don't know. They'd leave. If I cried, they were like, oh my God. And if they got in trouble from my mom, if I cried, then they started to be like, oh my God, if I cried, they just left, right? Because that means we're going to get in trouble. So my point with this is that I put on the mask of easygoing girl. Oh, it doesn't bother me. No, it's all good. That was another one of my masks. Another one of my masks, I'm getting to a point here with symptom, you guys. Another one of my masks was, I don't know if it was a mask. This was kind of, I was forced to do this, but what was courageous girl. Sure, I'll go do that scary, hard thing. No problem. Oh, you want to jump off the house into the pool? I'm with you. Okay, you know what? Oh, I'll get on a motorcycle at dark. So it was a mask, but actually ended up serving me later in life. My point is, what a simp is really doing is putting on a mask and saying, let me show you my value because I'm going to buy you things, or I'm going to be there for you, or I'm going to give you all the attention you need, or whatever. It's just a mask. That's all it is. It is not an indicator of who you truly are, nor is it an indicator of who you're going to stay being. Okay. Once I had my awarenesses about things, you guys, I'm like, oh my God, I'm the common denominator in my relationships. I didn't respect myself. I didn't require respect. Didn't honor myself. I didn't require honor. You list it. Okay. It's all in my upcoming book, The Recovering People Pleaser, a spiritual guide to reclaim your true worth and attract the love you deserve. And it's the cure to being a simp. It is the cure. Okay. I'll get into this in a little bit, but I forgot what my point was. Okay. So my point is with this is that symptom is really simp, S-I-M-P, dumb, D-O-M, symptom is really only this person trying to be something to get love, approval, and acceptance, which we're all doing until we're not. But once I had the awarenesses, that's what I was going to say. once we start to have the awarenesses of our behavior and what it is that we're doing over and over and over again, and that the results are really not yielding the results that we were hoping that we were yielding, that we would yield from this, then we start to, go within, because yeah, we might get that hit. We get that hit of approval for a second as we're getting the love, approval, or acceptance, attention from whoever. Okay. Right. So whether I'm being funny girl and I get that hit of approval when that popular guy over there laughed at me, boom, that's a hit. But that hit goes in my worthiness cup and flew out the bottom, and it was still empty. Because guess what? This out here is not the cure. So as long as we're continuing this pattern of doing these things to try to get something outside of ourselves, we are looking for a cure in the wrong place. Because you're still continuing to feel this way, that's your indicator that that's not your cure. So when I'm like, oh, I'm funny, and I get that hit of approval for a second, but then I get back down to not feeling like I'm worthy, and no one really likes me, or whatever it was back in the day, I realized that didn't stick. That didn't cure this feeling inside of me. And now, all of these decades later, having done the work, what cures this emptiness, this loneliness, this need for approval, this need for attention is us, which is what you are going to heal if you should choose to accept the mission that of what I invite you to heal in my upcoming book, The Recovering People Pleaser, which is, I'm not trying to market right now, you guys. I just need to tell you it's going to be ready. It's actually going to be launched on April 11th. There's pre-orders right now people can do, but the actual launch where you receive the book, whatever, that's on, you won't receive it on April 11th because it is print to order. Kindle will probably be immediate. But anyway, my point is that this is what I talk about. This is my life's work. This is what I help people through. Okay. So that seeking of validation outside of us is only an indicator that we're not validating ourselves inside, that there's something missing. And I talk about us having this worthiness cup, and the worthiness cup, I say, is just situated over our heart center. And the way I look at that is the way I pictured it when I came up with this is, it to me, for some reason, mine is like a tumbler, like those plastic tumblers. In other countries, you guys might call them other things. They're just like big plastic cups, or, and that's the way I looked at my worthiness cup. Okay. And it was over my heart center. And me, when our self-worth gets knocked as we're coming up through life, and we start to become aware of the external environment, and people start to speak things over us. They start to tell us what we are and what we are not. Okay. We start to take in these messages that there's actually something wrong with us. That doesn't mean the messages are true. In fact, the whole thing's been a farce. The whole thing's been a big fat lie. It's just the way our brain, our ego side of the brain, started to take in messages, because it is designed to protect us emotionally and physically. So when it's taking in messages out here that you're not enough over here, it says, oh, don't do that. Okay, because then you're going to get harmed. Change that around and do this. Okay, so we get all jacked up on our journey. And I heard this quote once and I really liked it. And it said, the first 20 years of life, we are filling our backpack full of wounds and crap. And then the rest of our life, we're unpacking our backpack. Tell me a person in your life that you don't know that has this going on. Everybody does. Because you're not alone. I'm not alone. And there's nothing exclusively wrong with Kristen Brown. And there's nothing exclusively wrong with you, or Bob, or Jill, or Jim, or whoever. Okay? Some people's hidden shame and unworthiness present in people pleasing, simping, neediness, desperation, over accommodating, over giving, hyper focusing on the needs of other people. And some people's hidden wounds turns into selfishness, hyper independence. I don't need anybody. I got this all myself. It's all about me. Okay. Guardedness, narcissism. It's the same cause, but it turns into one of two spectrums. Okay, so simping is going to be on the spectrum of overgiving, overcompensating. Okay, putting others' needs and wants above our own. So the cure here to this is to heal the worthiness cup, to fill your own worth. Okay, I thought this was going to be extremely difficult to do, but let me tell you something, it wasn't. Because when I woke up one day and I realized that oh my God, I knew my worth, is it didn't mean I walked around arrogant. It meant I walked around peaceful. It meant I had less attachment from getting from the outside world. It meant that I floated through life just this cleaner, clearer version of who I already am. And I need each and every one of you who are listening to this to know who you are. There's nothing wrong with it. You are divinely made. You're supposed to be exactly who you are, period. And we are all big, gorgeous black Bentleys or red Ferraris or whatever Maybach or whatever car that you like. We are all those luxury cars with just some mud on top. The core of who we are is consistent and will never change. It's love. It's beauty. It's all things divine, because that's what we are. We're divine sparks. But we got this mud on us, okay? But that doesn't change. A Maybach or a Bentley or a Ferrari or whatever your chosen car is still that car. Even with mud on it. Still the car. It doesn't change. So oftentimes I use this analogy coaching with clients when they think there's something, drastically wrong with them. I'm like, oh, no. We're just brushing off the mud. We're taking some water to it. We're just cleaning up and shining up what's already there. Okay? Your likes, your dislikes, your idiosyncrasies, your quirks, your silliness, your level of weirdness is exactly right. And I will tell you this, that there is not only just one someone, you got to keep in mind, what do we have? 7.9, 8 billion people on this planet right now. There's only not just one someone that's going to like you or think you're valuable. There's many someones, probably hundreds of thousands. But you're so busy trying to be this other thing to get the love, approval, and acceptance, they can't see into you. And if you're not shining that brilliant, authentic light out there in the world, who can see you? You're being this other version of yourself that you think you need to be. I need to drink some water. Stand by. You guys have any questions? Feel free to write it in the chat. Give me a thumbs up. Give me a 5. Give me a like this. I don't like this. I don't care what you say. Give me a comment in the chat. And I appreciate all the thumbs up you guys are giving me. So thank you for that. Hold on. You guys know every video and talk or live talks I get, I'm always slamming my water. Okay. There's also another point that I want to make here, and that is when we are busy hyperfixating and focusing on the needs of other people, there is an energy of desperation that is coming at people, okay? That's a lot of force that's coming at somebody. And I want you to take a minute and think to yourself, if you have ever had that come at you, where someone just was so desperate for your attention, okay? You can even look at it as a dog. If you've ever had a dog that you walk in the house, I got one, and this is why I'm using this analogy, and it jumps on you, and it's just, my dog's like 50 pounds now. He's jumping, he's grabbing, I've tried to break this habit, but it's a lot of force coming at somebody, okay? And some people might like that. Actually, a narcissist would like that. Oh yeah, make it all about me, bro. Oh yeah. And there's female narcissists. This has been kind of termed the male thing, but there's female narcissists. Trust me about this. Because again, it's rooted in shame and unworthiness that presents in one of two ways. Hyper focus on the needs of others or hyper focus on the need of self. Okay? So a narcissist or a taker is going to lap this shit up. I got to put lotion on. They're going to be, oh, this person gives me all these things? Right on. And they're just going to take with little or nothing in return. And I will tell you this, if you have been lucky enough, and this is going to sound very weird, if you have been lucky enough as the simp that you haven't yet landed a relationship, be happy. Because a healthy person is not going to be the one you land. It's going to be likely, okay, not 100% of the board, it's likely going to be someone who wants to take from you. And I have watched relationships. There's one in my periphery right now that it burns me, where the man is so incredibly giving and loving, will do anything for this gal, and she gives very little back to him. And it's hard for me to watch. It's hard for me to watch because he's like, hell no, I will never, ever, ever go anywhere. I will take the scraps, but yet he's sad. Inwardly, he's sad. He's unfulfilled and he's not getting what he needs back out of the relationship. And it breaks my heart. And I have to sit and watch it. And I just let it be what it is because it's not my business until it's made my business. And if this person wants help, great, groovy, right on. I'll step up and join. But in the meantime, I have not been invited into that space. But in essence, he's simping, right? Because he's so afraid of not having that love, approval, and acceptance or attention or that person that he'll do anything. And meanwhile, he's depleted. So yeah, he's got the relationship, but he's not any happier. He's got the moments of the attention. He's got someone to sleep with in bed at night. But is he truly any happier being in that situation? So I know that's a weird, ironic thing to say that, if you haven't been in a relationship or you haven't been able to, land a partner yet, it's probably a good thing. So the cure to this is first, let me back up. So it's important to understand that when we're doing that, we're shooting a lot of energy at somebody. And the energy of desperation and neediness is no bueno. It's not attractive. And people don't like it, right? And if you're someone who's ever received that energy from somebody else, you're going to know it's not fun energy. It's kind of like ooh, right? EW, like ooh. It's like you might even like the person, but that energy is like, it's infringing on your personal space, right? A healthy person is going to think that. It's going to be like, God, they don't leave me alone. They don't, and being in that place that you're the person that's doing this reaching out, you may not realize that energy is infringing upon that other person's space. And this is why I say, one time my YouTube banner said energy. I actually had that word on there because the energy that we are exuding, many times people don't realize how easy it is for other people to read because we're all energy readers, all of us. People want to claim they're an empath, which means you pick up on the emotions of other people. But guess what? God doesn't give just one person a gift. We all have the tool, the gift, if you will, built into us that we can read other people's energy if we choose to do so. Okay. So it's not just for 10 people in the world have this. No. We all have this ability if we choose to do so. So when we have that type of energy coming to somebody and they can sense it, it's very off-putting. It's kind of off-putting to that person. But we may not realize it because we think subconsciously, right, that we're doing something good. We're paying for this, we're buying that, we're showing up every time they have a thing. But if there is an energy of neediness attached to that, then it's not pure and they're going to feel that. Okay. It's that pure energy of love that says, yes, I want to help you. You know, what's interesting is that I don't care. Some of us are really good. Some human beings are really good at hiding our true motives. Like we can play it cool. We can play it cool. Yeah, I didn't blow that person up. Yeah, I didn't do this. Or yeah, I didn't do that. We can play it really cool. And guess what? They still leave us. And we're like, but I didn't do any of those things. Oh, they felt it. Oh, they felt it. I felt it. There were certain people I was just around, even just them being 3 feet away from me in my space. I was like, oh my God, I wanted to put up the deflector shield because whatever energy they had coming at me was off-putting. They could be gorgeous. They could be this, they could be that, they could be whatever. But I was like, eek. Okay. So that when that energy comes at us, it's off-putting. So we must understand that we are actually infringing upon another person's space. There's a push, there's a force that's going into somebody's space, and they may take because they don't give a hoot, because some people will just take, all right? Or they go, ew, and they go the other way. And then you go, God, why did, now another person has rejected me. Something really is wrong with me. No, you're the muddy Ferrari. Your innate worth cannot, and will never change. It's innate. You came here with it. Period, period, period. We're all children of God. Your worth is there. Your wounds are muddying this brilliant interior. Okay. Let me just ask you guys, since there's several people in this room, are you guys getting is my sound clear? That's what I'm really hoping for, is a crisp sound, because I don't think my microphone was hooked up last time and I haven't got any chats yet. So if someone can just say, yes, it's clear. If one of y'all love me, can tell me. Thumbs up. If it's not clear, say no, it's kind of garbly, because I need to catch this and fix something on the interior. Well, no one's answering me. Okay. Oh, Daryl. Okay. Oh, hi, Daryl. Okay. So thank you, Daryl. It sounds like my regular microphone, because last time I think something must have detached and it was going through the computer and it was kind of crappy. So thank you. All right. So the next thing I want to talk about is if your goal is to try to make somebody love you, you may as well just pack it in. We can't make anybody love us. Nope. If you think that your worth is what you're doing for somebody, you got it all wrong. Then you're attracting somebody who wants what you can do for them. Okay? Thanks, Daryl. All right. You are attracting somebody who wants what you can do for them. How are you going to make them look? How you're going to fill their needs. They're not looking for. Oh, thank you, Matthew. Thank you. Good, you guys. All right. Thank you guys so much. I appreciate that. So they're going to look for what you can do for them. Okay. So if you think it's all about your doing, then they're not looking to give to you. All right. So this is about learning to have an equal give and receive in a relationship. Now, it's not always like, first of all, it's not always like this. Sometimes you're going to be giving more because this person needs more. Sometimes they should be giving more because you need more. Okay. It should be like this. It's not always like this. It's not always like this. Just had a conversation this weekend that it's not always like this. It's like this. Okay. But when both parties are dedicated to show up for the health and well-being of the relationship, then it is 100% possible to heal and to flourish in this relationship. But when one person just wants all this doing that you're doing for them, then they have no desire to give back to you. And if you start to, and hopefully you do, start to speak up if this is an ongoing relationship, and you start to speak up to that person, and they still have no desire to give back to you, that's an indicator that you're in a lopsided relationship, and lopsided relationships are painful. They hurt. I've been in many. And I have a little thing that I do these days, and that is I call it matching people's energy. Because I was the person, I remember a friend, this is back some years ago, but I was always the one saying, hey, let's go here, let's go there, let's go to dinner. You want to do this? I was always approaching them at the salon, and they acted like they were my friend, perfectly fine. But it was always me. It was always me approaching. This is a female. This doesn't have anything to do with romantic relationships, but this is what I want you guys to know. It's not always romantic relationships. Simp, again, is just a term people are using. All right. But women can be simps. Okay. But anyway, I was going out of my way for this person and just always making sure I said hello to them, went up to them, they're my friend, and all of this. And this person never reciprocated. Didn't call me, didn't reach out to me first, didn't text me, didn't, all the things. And this went over as a period of years. And I was finally like, why am I expending so much energy? So this didn't mean I stopped being their friend. It just means that it wasn't, I had built up this, how much I'd given, and here's was what I had received. And I said, yeah, no, way too big of a disconnect here. Again, this is normal. This on a consistent basis is not. And I said, you know what? I'm putting a lot of energy into something that I'm not receiving back from. Did I stop being their friend? Nope. Did I get mad at them, call them names? Nope. But what I know for sure is when you start to pull your energy back, because sometimes we're just so in their space all the time that they really don't have the space to reach out to us because we're always filling the space. Do you remember that? Do you remember that? Do you know what I'm talking about? So if you're always the one that's making all the plans and you're first on the draw and you're faster than the other person and you're doing all these things, then they may have not gotten to the place where they even, think of you, and then you call. Okay, so that's a possibility. All right. But when you consistently pull yourself back and you're like, I'm going to let them reach out next time, and crickets for months, for years, that's not a person that is interested in equally giving to you. And one of the things that we really truly have to own on this journey, you guys, is that we are here to receive as equally as we are here to give. You are not here to just run yourself ragged and light yourself on fire to keep the world warm. You're here to receive. You have to refill your own battery as well. Okay. That's balance. Okay. We talk about balancing chi. We talk about balancing the feminine and masculine energies. We always are talking about balance when we talk about nature. Okay. So that's for us to receive too. And drum roll, please. Receiving is an act of love. So if you think, oh no, I can't receive, I can't say thank you, I can't ask for help, because that's wrong in some way, it's actually an act of love. So I want you to look at it this way. If someone walked up to you and said, here's a gift for you, and it's all wrapped and it's all pretty, and they hand you this gift, and you go, I don't want that. Why'd you buy me that gift? How's it going to feel to that person? Have you ever had someone say something like that to you? It's painful. Okay. They're giving to you and you're like, no, because you don't feel like you're worthy of it, or you think it's not of God or it's not of love. You're actually hurting somebody. But when you go, thank you, I'm so grateful that you thought of me, I will receive this with an open heart. Thank you. Okay, you don't even need to like the gift. You might even return it back to Target, whatever, but still the receiving of that. Do you know how much joy that person is feeling that you received? Because their giving is an act of love. That's why receiving is an act of love. But it's not only an act of love for the other person, it's an act of love for you. Okay, so anytime love's in the room, capital L love, we're winning. So these things are about shifting our mindset to understand that to be in a relationship that is lopsided, where we're constantly doing these things for somebody else, we're only hurting ourselves. And believe it or not, we're enabling other people. So it's going to require boundaries. And these boundaries don't have to be hard and strong and fast and mean and aggressive. Like, with this particular relationship with this girlfriend, I just pulled myself back a little bit. And I've done that with relationships with people. And next thing you know, they call me and they're like, where you been? What are you doing? No, 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 no. Okay. Then I've done it with other people, never heard from them again. I mean, it's shocking. And these are people that we think are our friends. Like, we truly think these people are friends and they're going to be there for us. And it's, all these, yay, our gang back in the day, right? And it's not. Because we've been filling in all the gaps and holes and we've been doing all the work in the relationship ourselves, that when you take us out of the relationship, there isn't one. Mind-blowing. I'm speaking from wisdom. I'm speaking from experience. I'm speaking from so many years of being in pain, so many years of hurt, so many years of why? Why? The cure was when I started giving to me all that stuff, all that energy, all that love, all that approval, all that compassion, all that forgiveness, all that everything, all that positive self-talk, cheerleading. When I gave all of this out there, I started giving it in here. I started to be compassionate to myself, kind to myself, gentle with myself, respectful to myself, honoring to myself. I started caring for myself very deeply and carefully. Mind, body, and spirit. What do I need? When I started giving these things to myself, I healed. And no longer was I desperate for somebody else's attention. The people in my life now are, first of all, I've attracted the most glorious people now because my energy shifted because it was down here, right? And it shifted, and now I attracted people that treat me the way I treat me. And the cure is self-love. The cure is always self-love. I mean, I could just throw one video up here that just says the cure is self-love. Okay, you guys have a good day. Like and subscribe. Get me monetized. But you know what? It can be confusing. Hold on. It can be confusing until we really get that point, which many of us don't until we start to do the work. And that's why there's this leap of faith that we have to take when it's kind of is and isn't. I'll tell you about that in a second. But it's this leap of faith we have to take because we're entering now into the unknown. Someone says to you, like me, with all this conviction, door number 2. Go to door number 2. Move those hanging 1960 beads out of the way. Open that little sliding door and walk through it. And you're like, well, are you sure? Because it's kind of dark. I don't know. It's in a hallway, and I'm not sure. Are you sure? There's a leap of faith, but here's how it's not a leap of faith. When you hear someone speaking to you with conviction, with wisdom, with experience, if your heart is open, there's going to be a resonance inside of you. There's going to be something inside of you that goes, I feel that. My entire healing path was, I feel that. And then I adopted that thing as my new truth, and I started implementing it into my life. That's how I started to heal. Okay? Because things that don't feel like that, you're going to be like, that doesn't resonate. That's what we say. It doesn't really resonate. Remember the term ring true? People say all the time, that rings true for me. It's kind of changing into the word resonate now. But ring true was a really true thing. Guess what? I have read this in so many spiritual literatures. It's not just one. I've read it in many where it says we actually have a mechanism inside of us that is designed to ring true or resonate when the truth is in the room. It's not like we were put here. God said, here you go, guys, have fun. It's going to be a hot mess. All right, but I'll just see you after a while. God put us here, or we chose to come here, however that works, and said, here's your tools. We're still connected. You're going to know if you quiet, you pay attention, you keep that heart center open, you are going to know things. But this thing over here, what did you not know, Daryl? Wow, I did not know that. But this thing over here is, Daryl, explain if you can. This thing over here is so loud, Mr. Ego, the gremlin over here. It's so loud. So it says, but you have this side of you that knows the truth. So when you start listening to that quietness inside of you, that gentle, still, small voice inside of you that says that, and you start acting from that, that's where the healing happens. And we are all, the truth detector. Yes, Daryl, we're going to talk about that on wisdom. But my point is that you start acting from that truth detector all the time, you can't do anything but heal. You will heal. That's why we're seekers, because we're out in the world and we're looking for things. We're trying to find an answer because I'm hurting. This is hurting. This sucks. I hate this. I'm sad. I'm depressed. I'm lonely. I'm all the things that, I think that I am, right? We're all of these things. And we're like, I need an answer. The answers are right before you. This world is filled with love, and it's filled with teachers, and it's filled with experience, and it's filled with truth tellers, and it's filled with wisdom. So you may not even hear it from me today on this talk. You could hear it from who knows who, Sadhguru. You could hear it from Mike Dooley. You could hear it from Eckhart Tolle. You could hear it from Daryl on wisdom. But when you hear that thing, when you're in the right place of receiving, and you hear that thing and you go, that rings true to me. That makes sense to me. That is where your trajectory changes. You literally just got off path. You might only be one little degree off path, but you're off path. You're off that trajectory that you were on that was simping. Boom, you've shifted. You've moved. You've changed directions. Okay? Like I said, it's just a little bit. But then you get another one and it's more. And then you get another one and it's more. And as it's going, remember, you're still on path. So you're still moving forward. So what happens? I don't know if you guys can see this. Okay, here you're on path. You move 1 degree this way, but you're still moving forward. And then you're getting another degree and you're learning more and you're learning more and you're learning more. And guess what? You've completely gotten off this path and you have started a whole new path. And the more that you take in and learn and adopt as truth, you're going to get more excited, because anytime we adopt capital T truth and we apply that to our lives, we heal. We feel better. And the minute you have that awareness, you're like, wow, I feel better. I want more of that. Okay. Then you start heading a little bit more. That's where I said, here's the path, but you start to just veer off. Okay. And then you're like this for a while, and then you heal a little bit more. And then you're like this for a while, and then you heal a little bit more because it feels good. It feels good. It feels good. It feels good. And then you're going to notice, you're going to wake up one day and you're going to say, I am not that old person anymore. I'm not that simp. I'm not that needy person, that desperate person, that stage 5 clinger. I'm not that people pleaser like I was. Okay. I have healed. And what's going to happen is you're going to return back to your authentic self in that healing. You have now honored who you are, and you are now going to show up in the world as this brilliant, beautiful, bright light of all you. And that is wildly attractive. That is when you call people that love that exact thing that you are. I want to tell a story. I was at the Renaissance Festival. I don't know if you guys have them in your cities. We have Renaissance Festival that comes here about 2 months, every early, like late winter, early spring, but it's all spring here, those months. But we went yesterday, and we saw this lady, and she had this show, and where she does things with cats and with rats. But as she's going through the show, she whips out these point shoes, ballet point slippers, and she's putting them on. She goes, what people don't know. Now, she's at the Renaissance Festival, so she basically travels around and does this with her cats and her rats. And her friend, like, I forgot his name, Vitaly or something like that. He was her Russian kind of sidekick. And as she's putting on her point shoes, she goes, what people don't know is that I spent 10 years in ballet. She says, I have a BFA, Bachelor's of Fine Arts. Okay. And her dad's like, when you gonna, do something that career? And she goes, what I realized was that I'm more weird than graceful. So even though she was going down this path that probably somebody chose for her, that she has to be this ballerina, she realized, I'm a girl that goes to Renaissance festivals, trains my cats, carries around raw chicken. I don't know, she kept saying raw chicken, so I don't know if it's cooked or not. Puts on point ballet shoes in the middle of the show, okay? Puts a little plastic cap on and has this cat come on her head and sit on her head while she's doing this funny. Then she has a slack line of rope. She says it's a 1/2-inch just rope that you would find at a farm that she ties up, and she does balancing tricks on this. She's making a living because she got out of the way of who she's supposed to be. She kind of looked like Cameron Diaz. I kept thinking that big, like Cameron Diaz smile. But she got out of her own way of who she thought she was supposed to be. And she finally sat back and said, I'm a cat and rat training ballerina that goes to Renaissance festivals on these little outdoor stages, and stands and balances on a rope. She's adorable. I don't follow people on Instagram for these type of things, you guys. I was like, who is she? I love this girl. She's my level of weird, and I followed her on Instagram. Okay. that's something you guys are interested in, I'm not here to promote her. We're not friends. I don't know her. But if that's something, you can write it in the chat or send me a message and I'll tell you who she is. Okay. My point is that when you step into your full authentic self, first of all, your life is going to flourish, right? You're going to attract people to you who actually meet you at that and love you at that and think you're the bee's knees. All right. And guess what? The people that don't, they're going to fall away. The takers are going to fall away. Bye. I can honestly tell you right now, I have no takers in my life. I had all I had for decades, even female girlfriend friendships. I didn't think so, but I did. And as time went on and it was revealed and I started to learn what I learned and heal from what I was, healing and all these things started to happen. I looked back and I went, holy cannoli. That's all that was there, but it's not anymore. Okay. So this whole conversation was about simping. I need to jump off soon because I do have an appointment to make. Let me make sure. Okay. So the last point I want to make is that I would like to see you, the lovely person who wrote this email to me and anybody else who listens to this now or who listens to it on the replay, I want to see you get obsessed with something that is not somebody else. I want you to see you get obsessed with your own healing. I want to see you get obsessed with loving yourself, approving yourself, validating yourself, accepting yourself, and giving yourself attention. The hardest part about this journey is the initial separation from the ego, because it's been screaming at us for decades, for so long, for so loud, and that's what we've listened to. Okay. So that initial break from the ego is the hardest part because we're breaking a pattern. We're breaking a habit, right? So let's say every night at 6 o'clock, you have 6 chocolate chip cookies. Well, what's going to happen at 6 o'clock is you're going to be sitting there with those 6 chocolate chip cookies. You're going to want to go so bad to the thing. What's the initial hard part is breaking the pattern, breaking away from the ego. It's not really hard to sit there without 6 chocolate chip cookies. You go on and you do something else. But that moment where you have to choose differently for you, when you've been in the habit and pattern of doing this for so long, that's the moment that's hard. But when you say, I know better, I'm going to love myself. And even if you just give yourself something like, if you just say this, you know what? I'm going to put away, if it's social media, if it's, I don't know where simps do simping things. I'm not really sure. Again, when it's coming to the men, I explained in the beginning of this that we're all doing this in some way, shape, or form. But I don't know if it's like online chat rooms. I'm not sure the forums of it, or if it's just dating. I don't know. You have to know for you, where is it that where's your source? Where are you trying to see this thing? Okay. Where are you trying to find this thing? Whatever your source is, how about make a commitment to yourself that for 24 hours, I'm not going to look on that. And instead, I'm going to give something to myself. Or 48 hours, or for 30 days, I'm going to read Kristen's book. I'm going to apply all the methods in this book. And I'm going to see at the end of 30 days if I want to still do this thing. Okay, I got a message. Matthew, you outed yourself. You're courageous, bro. That's all I'm going to tell you. Matthew I wrote this email, Kristen, and I can assure you this past hour has been the most powerful, important hour. I will be repeating this video daily. Thank you. Thank you. You're changing and saving people's lives daily. Matthew did write this email, and he's been on my lives before, and he's up here saying, I am loud and proud. That's what he's saying right now. I am no different. I am no worse. I'm crying, you guys. I know, Daryl and I know how big that is. And I'm just like really verklempt right now. Can you see my teary eyes? Anyway, I'm making all the ugly faces. We both know, Daryl and I both know that this is like, when you have the courage to do this, I'm telling you right now, you're so close. Enough has been enough. You're sick and tired of being sick and tired, and you're ready to move forward. And so for you, Matthew, and anybody else who's listening to this or who might be listening to this on the replay, I want you to know that you're not here to suffer. We're not here to suffer. That's not our calling. That's not our job. It's not our journey. It's not our destiny. It's not our karma. It's not any of that crap. It's not the past life thing. We are here to thrive. And when you take responsibility for your patterns, like our beloved Tears and Watery Truth, when you take responsibility for yourself, that is like literally hands down the most powerful thing you can do. In fact, I was talking to someone, I was coaching someone earlier, and we're talking about something. And I said, and how did this happen? I just, whatever my coaching questions was, and the person says, I took responsibility for myself. And I said, that's always the way in. I had to take responsibility for myself. Yes, Daryl did this and I'm doing it back. Except I think the emoji looks a little different. But anyway, I took responsibility for myself, my habits, my patterns, my behaviors. And that's when my life started to change. And here's another cool thing that can happen is once your life starts to change and to heal, you're like, more of this, please. It feels so good. Like it's a feeling that you've never had, that we've never had, except probably when we were 2 years old, when we were still in certain brainwave states where the ego hadn't taken form yet, right? But you get into this place where it's peace and it's freedom and it's love and it's acceptance of self, and there's no more neediness and desperation. Thank you, Daryl. There's no more neediness and desperation, or if it's there, it's very light and it's very manageable. I termed my book The Recovering People Pleaser because it's still there a little bit. I still can feel a certain tendency to do things. The thing is that I'm aware now, and I really don't. But it's still the nudge, the feeling, the pull. But I didn't want to call myself recovered because to me, recovered is that wouldn't be there. That's just my definition. So for those of you that are new here, or just still listening or listening on the replay, I want to share two things with you. Number one is that my upcoming book that I cannot wait to get into everybody's hands is called The Recovering People Pleaser, a spiritual guide to reclaiming your true worth and attract the love you deserve. It is launching April 11th. I think it's a Tuesday. April 11th. And if you purchase the Kindle version of that book between 1 and 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, United States, then you can help me become an Amazon bestseller. If you want to pre-order, you can pre-order, but that you won't get the book right away because it's still in the pre-order stage. So you can pre-order the Kindle or you can pre-order the softback copy. Neither one of those will go towards Amazon bestseller status. I'm not attached. You are your own authority. You do what's right and true for you. Okay. Or you can purchase it afterwards. These are print to order books, keep in mind. So it will take a week or two to get there. I've had many people have reached out to me like, I already ordered your book and it's not coming till May 8th. And I'm like, well, it doesn't launch until the 11th. So May 8th, whatever. So I'm really looking forward to this book getting into the hands of people. So that's the one thing I want to tell you guys. The second thing, and then I'm going to need to boogie, is that I have a course that I have taken people through. It's called Self-Love to Soulmate Masterclass. And I started this course out as one-on-one coaching, and I still have that availability. Okay, you can still do it. Take the course with me. This is the exact work I did. I actually turned it into a course of how I switched this script on myself and I healed to attract better relationships to me. So the course is 6 modules. Each module is an audio recording that is I think they're all about 30 to 35 minutes, something like that. Each audio recording, there's 6 of those, plus an introduction that's 20 minutes. And then you get a written worksheet that accompanies each module. And we work through this together. So you do the worksheet and then we meet up once a week for an hour to discuss and go through everything. This course has been so incredibly powerful that I am now hearing the people calling me back that I haven't heard from in a while. And they're texting and emailing me and doing whatever. And they're saying, sending me pictures of the love of their life. Okay. And these are all people that have attracted, same thing as me, users, abusers, jerks, narcissists, people that didn't care, lopsided relationships, all those things. And now I'm reaping the rewards of these things, where I'm seeing it now in real life, and the wedding pictures and the this and the so-and-sos and all these things. So when I tell you that this course is powerful and it will shift you, it absolutely will. You can work on it with me one-on-one. If you go to my website, it is at kristenbrown.org. It's also on my banner and stuff. You can click the link, my YouTube banner. And usually I put it in the description. And you can look up Work With Me. It's the first tab on the top, Work With Me. You scroll down, you're going to find all the information about working with me, the cost of it, and all those type of things. Or you can do this as a self-study course, which is $97. Okay. It's much cheaper, but that's because you don't get the hour coaching with me. So many people are doing this. This course is selling like crazy. And all you got to do is you go over to where the website, kristenbrown.org, where it says self-study program at the top of the page. You click on that tab, and that tells you all about that self-study program. It's the exact curriculum that I take people through when I work with you. But you can do it as self-study in the privacy of your own home. And then if you like, yeah, I need a little bit more, I got a question, you can just opt for a single coaching session or something to where, I had some questions in these areas. So whatever works for you, but I wanted to let you guys know about these two things because I don't often talk about the programs and offers, and you, or you can just call me to coach with me, right? I've got that offer too as well in there. I often don't talk about these things with people because I get so wrapped up in talking that I forget about mentioning it. And I want you guys to know that there's available things for you. I also have a first book called From Doormat to Sweet Empowerment. Ooh, that reminds me. Yay. Here we go. Hold on. Here's my first book, Let It Get Doormat to Sweet Empowerment. Okay. That's Kristen Brown's first book. Awesome book. Love this book. I read it every once in a while. It just warms my heart. And here's the new bro, The Recovering People Pleaser. This is my new one. I think it's like 207 pages. It's not long. It's beautifully written. I absolutely freaking love this thing. And I'm going to tell you this. It says the very last word. It says, it is your birthright. That's all I'm going to say. There might be a time I'm actually going to get on the Wisdom app and read a little couple of excerpts from it. And if you guys haven't joined the Wisdom app yet, I highly recommend it. It's on the App Store, and it's a picture of Einstein, like his profile. I think it's white or purple, and it's got some like colorful background on it. And it's super easy to join the Wisdom app. And we're at Daryl, who you see in the chat right now, Daryl Ledgard. He's live on there all the time. He's like the wisdom daddy, like the super daddy of wisdom over there. And we have some amazing talks together too. But also there's so much love over there. Like, this is not like the other ones that we know about. Like, everybody that gets on there, Gerald is testimony of this too. When you have people come to wisdom, they're like, oh my God, this is like very different than those other social audio places. This place is love, man. It is love. Occasionally you get someone over there that might, kind of not fit in, but they tend to wean themselves out. But it's an app where you're going to find so much support and probably some of the best friends that you've ever met, because you're going to meet on a level of healing. And there's so many talks by so many walks of life, by so many different people, by so much different experiences, that there's literally something on there for everybody. Super easy app to navigate as well. Because I know I'm resistant to thing, 100%. Daryl said, I am resistant to things. People are like, oh, get the app. The first thing I think is, I don't want an app, because number one, I got apps on my phone. But number two, they're complicated. And I'm like, what's this? And it takes me forever. I don't have time for that. Wisdom's super easy. Plus, Daryl, who you see here now, does office hours every Thursday. Daryl, I think it's every Thursday. I'm not sure what time it is, but he answers all questions that have to do with wisdom. And he is not a paid affiliate of them. This is something that he does because we have both been there since the very, very beginning. And this is a field of expertise for him. So I'll just say that. But anyway, I just wanted to thank everybody for being here. I do have to jump because Thursdays at 11 a.m. Eastern, Daryl does the office hours, but that's not all that he's just about. He's also about amazing, amazing thoughts. He holds a room that's called the Deep Thinking Lounge. It helps us to go deeper. So thank you guys for being here. So much love to each and every one of you. Matthew, your truth, your heart, your love, your honesty, your courage, everything, for reaching out and for coming up here today. I honor you, and I know I know with certainty because I know just things. And I know that where you're at right now, that you are going to heal from this and you're going to have the most amazing relationship of your life. Okay. Just take some dedication, take some healing, and it happens. All right, you guys. So much love to each and every one of you. And I will see you next time. Bye.